This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? Thank you. But no, we don't deserve your applause this week, unfortunately. We were not that good. But we're like goldfish. Like Ted Lasso says, be a goldfish, have no memory. And we have none. And we're going to move on. And to that end, my colleagues, John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer, King Egbelu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the three-time Olympic sevens coach, and Irish rugby legend George Hook are going to help us by looking at that slate and talking about what's on it. And because our records were in the red, we needed something to move on. And what better way than to have a special guest for us this week? And that is none other than South Africa's and the globe's best rugby pundit / broadcaster. Oh, and he might have also played for that team called the Springboks and professionally for the Stormers, the Cats, the Cheetahs, the Sharks in Western Province, and pretty much anybody else in South Africa. Hanyani Shimange, welcome to the Rugby Odds.
Thank you very much, guys. Nice to meet you guys all off air. There's always something in common in rugby. You know, someone that's coached around the world or you've bumped into each other. So thank you for the nice welcoming, actually. I played for a lot of teams. I didn't realize it was that many, but I enjoyed playing for all of them.
Well, there is something in common here, Shimmi. See, we've got a group that's very eclectic. We got a legendary coach in Mike Friday. We got a king in Egbelu. We got you, who is a legend anywhere in the world, and we got an absolute dumbass in Matt McCarthy. So we got the whole spectrum.
An absolute dumbass.
It's just,
absolute dumbass.
Shimmy, you know how it goes. When you look like a male model, people take shots at you all the time. That's what this is. It's just
you look like a cadaver, Matt. You don't look like a male model.
Petty jealousy. Just petty jealousy.
He's a hand model.
John took care of the intro, but guys, do we have any questions? John, you have a question for Shimmy?
Yes. Is Leinster going to lose again? They choke anytime they get in a championship because they suck, because they're Irish. Is the Vodacom Bulls going to beat these boys? They're 10.5-point underdogs going up into Leinster. Is the Vodacom Bulls going to beat these boys?
I hope so. Look, we've sort of been
We do too.
for Leinster. Yeah. No, the Bulls have. I don't see why the Bulls cannot do it. They've got a good scrum, a good line out, excellent kicking game, defensively good. They've got a World Cup winning coach that's been there. They've traveled well since they were last on tour. I think Jake White, I did the game when they played. I think they just won a game, I can't remember, weeks ago before the quarterfinal, and they were going on tour. And he said it's actually a rehearsal for when they get into the playoffs. So this is something they've been building up to. And I think, obviously Leinster, people are waiting for, they're playing at Croke Park, so we call it the ghost of the Aviva when the choke comes in. But I think the Bulls can do it. So in a long way, I think the Bulls can upset Leinster.
Mike.
Being a scrum half, I know nothing about the front rows. So what was your assessment of the Bulls front row against the Sharks front row?
Will Cologne, he's worth about 5 penalties himself a game. And what they're doing now, they're getting their timing right, so they actually disrupt your ball, so you don't get a good attacking base. You're almost in emergency mode. Teams might survive in the first couple of scrums, get the ball in and out and play. But somewhere along the line, you're going to make a knock-on. I think that's when your worst nightmare comes to reality. And the Bulls are going to put the ball in, and it's like a truck. They've been by far the best scrum in the URC. Just powerful, aggressive, and it suits the Vodacom Bulls' nature in terms of that. And there's one guy there that they signed from Highlghts. He played Bulls at a young age. Went to Stormers. Stormers won Currie Cup when he was there. Went to Highlghts. They won when he was there. And now he's at the Bulls. And he's absolute gold. Will Cologne.
King.
Do you guys feel like the Sharks are ever going to be able to get it like really over the top? It always feels like right whenever they need to kind of take the win and be able to show their final dominance as this almost South Africa national team in the professional. Do you feel like they have what it takes to finally, or do you think it's just kind of a mental block for them?
So if you look at the Sharks' improvement, they've gone from not making the top 8 to a semi-final this year. So it's been a massive improvement. I think what you do is generally with a team full of superstars, everybody thinks everyone else will get the job done. Whereas if you ask me, if I close my eyes and you ask me how do the Bulls or how do Leinster play, I could explain to you. I can tell you how the Vodacom Bulls play. But the Sharks, they just got grind. They've got special players. But the Sharks, the last 3 or 4 games haven't been good, but they've gotten over the line. I always say they're like street fighters. They always win the bar fight, It's not pretty, but they get it over the line. I thought they probably played one of their best games this weekend in the semi-final, but against 12 men with the attacking players they've got, they should be able to score 2 tries at least.
Incredible from the Bulls. But is it age?
Those 12 guys there, I mean, you look at Eben didn't play, but Oxenchair, I think, has just hit 30. Bungi Monambi's obviously mid-30s. Vincent Koch, a little bit older in his 30s. The Locks are young. CS 33. The rest of the guys are young. There's 9, 10 pretty young guys. Andre Esterhazen's probably 30. Lukanya Om's a little bit older. Mapimpi, who I thought was phenomenal, is probably the oldest player. And Fassi, the current Springbok fullback. So I don't think age is an issue.
I know that you met Layfield down in Bermuda. Was that when you came out of retirement to play for the Selects?
Yeah. The last time I went, I tore my Achilles then. So I went. Ask him what a dark and stormy is. You know?
I spent a month one night with a dark and stormy.
Yeah, so it was too many dark and stormies, dehydration, and yeah, I think I tried to go too hard into. We played the British and Irish, ex-British and Irish Lions, and I snapped my Achilles. So it was the last time I was there, but it was good fun. It's a special island. Mr. WW, I couldn't believe he was out there.
It was so much fun to see all these great legends like you and all these other guys playing. It was a lot of fun to watch. Hey, Shimmi, let me ask you a question before you go. The URC, to me, is the best league in the world. What is the future? Do you think they merge with the Premiership? Do they do something with them with the top 14? It seems like a natural fit with these guys to have some type of merger. Do you think that's what ends up happening with URC? All these different countries playing each other.
I personally think they should. You can have as 2 leagues. So you could probably include one South African team in the Premiership. Because I think at the moment, URC is probably at 8 or 9 team competition. Zebra aren't really competitive. 1 or 2 of the Welsh teams aren't competitive, so you can't watch it. There's obviously a differential in salary cap, and you can see the teams with money are the ones that are making it through to the playoffs. Glasgow Sharks, Vodacom Bulls, and Leinster. So imagine you had a promotion relegation battle, the same as a race for the top 8 with 2 different leagues. I think that would be phenomenal. So you can have your domestic competitions, your home trophies and all of that. But if you had 2 leagues where there is something around, if you don't perform, you're out the URC, another team comes up and competes there. URC, you could probably cut down the amount of teams and make it probably better quality games and a little bit more competitive.
And Shimmy, before you go, got to ask you, because we make picks on this show. Premiership. Who's winning the Premiership and who's coming forward in the Super Rugby?
Chiefs, I've got to go for Van Graan. He was unlucky, got a red card last year, and he's South African, but Pollard's playing on the other side. So I'll go for Johan Van Graan to win it. Super Rugby, I would go with it. I think the Chiefs to play. Macmillan's a good coach. He's going to go to Munster, but I think once Razor's done with the All Blacks, he'll probably be the next All Black coach if he does well with Munster. I think he'll probably be the one. And then URC, I've got to go with the Vodacom Bulls to win it away from home.
Thank you, Shimmy. Thanks for coming on. We got to have you on more often. Cheers.
All right, guys. Enjoy Bermuda, Brazil, India, and New York.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Right
Cheers,
back.
guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Thank you very much.
All right, gents, we got to move right along. We got to go with our player of the week. The nominees are Sebastian de Klerk of the Bulls. Player of the match, the wing punched way above his weight, ran in heavy traffic, sparked the Bulls' attack, and helped keep damage to a minimum when the Bulls were down 2 players for an extended period. Joel Hodgson of Utah, the number 10, the banged-up warhorse, had 18 points via a try and 13 kicking from the tee, and had to go off in the 28th minute, but came back in the 37th minute, and then scored a minute later in the 38th minute. Finn Russell, the Bath number 10, had 2 assists for tries, 14 points from the tee, and was basically Finn Russell. Mike.
I'm going to go for the mercurial Finn Russell. That was a proper West Country derby. Tight at half-time. He was the difference. Decent with ball in hand, but from the kicking tee as well, fantastic. He ruled the roost. Finn Russell, he was the man, got him to the final.
John.
My man, Finn Russell.
You're just kissing Mike's ass all the time. That's all you're doing.
He's a legendary coach. What do you mean to do? You mean to agree with you, who's like a waterhead dumbass? Or agree with a legendary coach who's so damn important they fly him halfway around the world to help some program down there in India? Are you, Matt, who cannot get booked in your freaking own neighborhood?
You make some valid points. Gift.
But yeah, once again, Finn Russell continues to show why he is one of the, if not the best fly half in the world. right now. And Joel Hodgson pisses me off because he wasted my entire fantasy season. So I'll never vote for him in anything. So
There's the truth. There's the absolute truth. Well, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to go with Joel Hodgson because he's just been a banged up player all 80 minutes
banged
every
up.
match.
That's the key. Banged up, and now he wants to show out.
What are you talking about? He keeps playing and he's the catalyst of that prolific offense. Anyway, the player of the week is indeed Finn Russell. Let's go to our next recurring segment.
Grown ass man.
And the candidates are Ruin Yorte, the Bulls number 7. The captain was key in shutting down the Sharks with his team down 2 players twice in the match, even getting points when they were down 2 players. Requisite shiner for the toil as well. Brad Wilkins, San Diego's hat trick, 25 tackles, 64 meters rushing in a must-win versus Old Glory, albeit an Old Glory B-side. And Ted Hill, the number 6 of Bath, physical, got a try, and has that grit and mongrel in him. Mike, who's your grown-ass man of the week?
Well, on your stats, it would have been Brad, but he was against the B team. So that don't really count for nothing. So I've got to go for the big ball. Ruhan Norch, I think is how you say his name. The big number 7, the old rear guard, did a job. He's the boy.
John.
The Bulls number 7, because they're rolling into Ireland this week, waiting for them boys to.
Let me just pick what Mike Friday picks. That's who I am, JBL.
Because Mike picked the right thing. Let me explain something to you. A guy says, hey, what is 2 and 2? Oh, that's 4. So then you ask me, what is 2 and 2? Just because Mike is right, I have to disagree with him. You're the dumbass, the only person that doesn't have an iPhone on this entire planet right now because, everybody's got an iPhone, so I'm going to get a different phone because I'm an idiot.
Well, 2 plus 2 could be 22. Gift.
One North continuing to be this because regardless of whatever it is that happened, to be able to be down 2 players against that all-star team that even though Shimmi said doesn't have a playing style, that's some grown-ass man moves.
Bam!
You can't agree with me now.
I'm going to make it unanimous.
Yeah.
And pick Ruin Yorte.
Is this week's grown-ass man?
Okay, let's take a break and we'll come back with George. But after that, we'll bring you guys back for your picks and more after this.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
Run like a sprinter.
Pass like a basketball player. Kick like a footballer. Tackle like a kabaddi player. Score like a diver. Walk like a winner.
Like a
winner.
And now, the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. In the 52nd minute, with his team down 2 players and their postseason hopes on life support, Duncan Matthews once again breathed life back into the Seawolves season with a dazzling burst, a devilish chip kick, and a ridiculous recapture of the ball, all on his way to a monumental try as Seattle goes on to clinch a playoff spot. And that is your Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. And we're back, and once again, we're back with Mr. George Hook. George, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm okay, yeah. We're obviously a bit excited here with the URC final next weekend.
Sure. All right, well, let's get to our recurring segment.
Headlines with Hook.
Professional Club Rugby World Cup. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't. What we have at the moment is we have a season in which rugby players now, despite all the talk about player welfare, rugby players are probably playing more than at any time in their history. And not only are they playing more, they're playing more in a game that is more demanding physically. So how they're going to fit this into a schedule, are they going to turn around and say to the URC, well, that competition doesn't exist anymore. We got another one here now. And then there's the European competition. What are they going to say? A World Cup for clubs will by definition mean a small number of clubs. If you look at the English Premiership, what's going to say to the teams there? The 4 Irish provinces aren't going to be in it. The French are going to be, I would imagine, totally unhappy, where they have the best competition, I think, in the world, in the top 14. I would describe it as a cash grab. You can throw money at a problem, but ultimately what makes the game is its history and tradition. Where does international rugby now fit into this World Club Championship? I don't think it's thought out, because there's another suggestion now called R360, who are suggesting, look, we're going to have 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams, and we're going to throw a ton of money at it, and we're going to get the top 300 players, male and female, to play in this competition. What's that say about all the other competitions? So I don't think any of this is going to work. In a stadium for 60,000 people last Saturday, Leinster beat Glasgow, 15,000 people.
Yeah.
So this week, the quarterfinal, Leinster beat the Sharks, 11,000 people. The URC final is in Croke Park, the biggest stadium in the country, 82,000 capacity. If they put 15,000 into that, then bells are going to be ringing everywhere. You can't just have more and more and more games with the same players and the same clubs and think you can generate more and more money. A lot of these predictions are based on each game in the Club World Cup thing, producing 2 million in profit each game. Will it? I don't see it.
All right. That match, Leinster hosting the Bulls. Predictions.
I think Leinster will win.
Do you think they'll win by 11.5 points?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Although they've had a number of poor games in the run-up to this, they have chosen the precise moment to play extremely well, namely last week against Glasgow, when they demolished Glasgow. The holders, the big worry. And it's been a big worry for me every time you talk to me about Leinster, is the fly half. Prendergast again was the worst Leinster player on the pitch. I just don't see what they see. They're closer to it, but I don't see it. When you think about Sexton or O'Gara, and you think about their control of the game from number 10, he has none of that.
We may have seen some of that from Crowley in that match against the Sharks.
Yeah. Now, the Bulls will be South Africa to the core. They will play like South Africa. It'll be a big battle up front. Leinster have in the past been bullied, so they could be bullied again. I don't think they will, though. There's too much at stake for them here.
They have to win.
Oh, yeah. It's affecting the audience.
Yeah. Once again, that was our recurring segment.
Headlines with Hook.
Headlines with Hook. Thank you, George.
Pleasure.
We'll be right back.
Run like a sprinter.
Pass like a basketball player. Kick like a footballer. Tackle like a kabaddi player. Score like a diver. Walk like a winner.
Like a
winner.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. Okay, gentlemen, we're back, and we have the URC final. Leinster minus 11.5 versus the Bulls. Mike.
I think Leinster win this, but I don't think they win it by 11.5. So I'm going to go Bulls.
John.
Too many points and a good chance that Leinster does what they do best, and that is choke.
Gift.
I've been on the Bulls for a minute now. I think this is the one that they finally get it right. 11.5 is a lot, and even if it's in Leinster or wherever the name of that stadium.
I'm going against the consensus.
You're a suck ass.
I am going to say that Leinster is going to exercise.
Oh, yeah, heaven forbid.
The Sharks.
Heaven forbid.
Exercise the ghosts of losing past, and they're going to get that glorious win that we've all been waiting for and all wanted. Leinster is going to bash the Bulls. How you doing?
At Choke Park.
Oh, not A2 Brute. A2 Brute. Mike, come on. The knife in my back. Oh. Let's come back over here. Let's come to the United States for the MLR quarterfinals. First game up, Chicago -6 versus DC. Mike.
I think Chicago do this, and they cover.
John.
DC is tough when in the playoffs. They are really good, but I think Chicago has the better team. I think Chicago probably wins.
Gift.
Chicago's really brought themselves together, but I'm going to have to go with DC on this one. I think defense is going to end up playing a big role in this game, and I think DC is able to slow them down on the road.
I'm going to go with DC. DC. If they don't win, they'll probably cover. Utah at home, -5 versus Seattle.
Utah at home. I think they're on a roll.
John.
Utah, they have an incredible season. They score a ton of points. Give me Utah. It'll be a good game.
Gift.
Yeah, this is where Seattle Stadium, if Sunfire Stadium comes to an end.
Utah's at home.
I know.
So why is Starfire coming to
Stadium? I blame the stadium. That's the only one I wanted to care about. You know, you made this weird. You made this weird.
No, you made it weird. You brought up the
Utah.
I said Utah.
I said Sunfire Stadium comes to an end because it's a black hole. They're going to go into their own black hole. I didn't know I had to explain it fully.
Oh,
goodness.
Good Lord.
5 years of doing this, and we got to go back to this again. Like, it's the basics.
You're an idiot, Matt. He just explained it to you.
I'm going to go with Utah. Dan Creel looked like he pulled his hammy. They can't afford to lose him in the Seattle back line. So I'm going with Utah.
You're going against your guy that you want to be up his butthole, Adrian Belfer.
So you should talk. You got Fridays all over your face. Sorry, Mike.
And it's not Friday, by the way, you fucking disrespectful dipshit.
Olympic.
John's mic has been muted as we move on. The Free Jacks at home, -10 versus Miami. Mike.
Free Jacks to cover after last week. Jed Melvin didn't play. That's why it all went wrong.
We've unmuted John. Go ahead, John.
Don't you unmute my balls.
If you get your picks in, I will.
The Free Jacks have turned their season around. Last year's defending champion. They were not good at the beginning of the year. They are good now, and I'm going with the Free Jacks.
Gift.
I've made fun of Miami a lot over the last year and a half, and it's always been very fun to do it just because it just brings me joy. But I think -10 points is a lot, so I'm going to give it Miami.
Okay, we're gonna move these right along. I'm gonna take New England -10.
No, we're not. You have expert opinion because people.
John's mic is muted again. Houston at home -3 versus LA. Gift is muted as well. Mike, Houston at home -3 versus LA.
Houston.
John, unmuted.
Big difference between Texas and Ireland. Texas doesn't choke. Give me Houston.
They almost choked against the Anthem.
You dumb ass. Your Carolina rugby team has not won a game in the history of their club.
Gift.
Yeah, no, this is Houston Vengeance Tour, man. They're trying to come back to what they had last year.
I'm going to go with LA on the road with the upset.
Oh, I got an iPhone. Look at me. I don't have an iPhone because
LA's a better team than everybody's made them out to be the entire season. The entire season.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's take a quick break and come back with our Premiership and Super Rugby picks and our picks of the week after this.
From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. And we're back, and we're going to the Premiership final. Can't believe it's here already. Bath, minus 10.5 versus Leicester. Michael.
10.5 points is big. I think Bath win it, but I don't think they win by 10.5. So, and Leicester are resilient. They're the team that have got the pack that can live with Bath. So I'm going Leicester.
The hook on 10 is too much. It's very simple. Mike's correct about that. If it was 9.5, it's completely different. That's why bookies are so freaking good. I completely agree with Mike.
Gift.
I do think 10.5 points is a lot, but Finn Russell's foot is crazy. And those extra points and getting penalty points, I think I'm going to have to go with Bath.
You know that they got Pollard for Leicester, didn't you? Gift.
Yes.
Look at
Just
Mike.
saying.
Look at Mike.
Just saying, boy. Just saying.
Look at Mike.
I got to trust the Scott, man. It's his only time he gets to win ever in life, man. It will never be with the national team.
Not only that, Mike. Not only that, Mike, but he said Bath this time. Did you notice he said Bath this time, not Bath?
He said Bath, didn't he?
No, he said Bath because he followed Layfield, who says it like an American. Okay, so I'm going with Bath.
He's a king. He can say whatever the hell he wants.
Moving over to Super
You're
Rugby.
from Hoboken Swamp.
The Crusaders, minus 6.5 versus the Blues. Mike.
Crusaders. It's killed me.
Yeah. You've learned your lesson, finally. John, who's your pick?
I'm going with legendary coach Mike Friday.
Gift.
Tough in a gift.
6.5 points is a lot, man. You know, but give it to the Blues. Hey, they only won.
All right, he's muted. We got his pick. It's the Blues. And I'm going to go with the Crusaders once again. Chiefs, minus 10.5.
All you do is idiotic.
Versus Brumby.
You know what you're going to pick. You're going, I'm going to go with, and then you pause.
John's muted as well. Mike.
I think that's a lot, and I think the Brumbies can play. So I think the Chiefs might win, but they don't cover the 10.5. So I'm going Brumbies.
John.
I go with Coach Mike Friday, and I'm betting real money on him.
Gift.
We're going to go with the Chiefs. Chiefs should run through this one.
I am going with the Chiefs. On that note, we are basically out of time, but for John's favorite segment, Picks of the Week, Johnny. Who do you like?
I've already picked everybody. Give me the over.
Such an asshole. Mike.
Bayonne and Toulon to win the top 14 playoffs.
Wow, 2 picks and what? Wow. Gift.
Leinster Bulls total combination points under 30.
Oh.
Wow.
That is going to be one defensive struggle that you're pointing to, huh, Gift?
That's what he just said. My God.
It's a talk show. I'm going to go with Utah versus Seattle in over 45 points. And on that note, we are out of time. I want to thank Hanyani Shimange, a.k.a. Shimmi, John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the 3-time Olympic sevens coach, Irish rugby legend George Hook, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.
OKC Thunder in 6.